We are ready, and we start with a giggle.
Yes. So thank you so much, Theresa, from Dubai, to join us today with a piece of puzzle from Yes Exclusive Flowers.
First of all, I have to say Happy Mother's Day
That's just
to
what
you
I wanted to say.
and to all mothers in the world. So now it's your turn.
It's also my turn.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And listen, Sylvia, Happy Mother's Day to you. And ladies, thank you for inviting me to have a chat with you. I really am so excited about this. So thank you. Awesome.
You are welcome. I think I start just a little bit different with you, because also your story is different from, I think, many other people that I have met. So I remember that you came to my office in Dubai one day, like a couple of moons ago, and you introduced yourself and said, you know what, I'm just starting out, but I have a love for a passion, like, which is love, and I want to transport this, and I want to work with people who are obviously doing a good job, but I really want like to be there for others also, and to share the love and the passion that you have with other people. And this really struck out, like, not only that you are South African, and obviously, like, there's always the South African connection wherever you are in the world. I think you always turn first to people that sort of have the same common understanding of your background. But apart from that, I really felt that you have a very vibrant energy, not only always like dressing colorfully, which I think just underlines also your personality, but just like that was my feeling. But now, maybe because I know what you do and how you actually work, and why I also like to recommend you as a wedding celebrant for couples. Just tell the people your story, what you are doing, and how you maybe also got to where you are right now.
Okay, well, I've been very, very, very happily married, and then I lost my husband, and it was a massive shock. And at the time, I knew something good will come out of this, and I felt like I was really pregnant with stuff on the inside, and I didn't know I didn't know which platform I would actually find where I could express what's on the inside. And then what happened is Lizelle Gossart, the wedding photographer who you interviewed just, it was yesterday, or the day before?
Yes.
Yeah, yesterday. And Lizelle contacted me. She's a really good friend of my daughter. And she said to me, I really would like you to consider becoming a wedding celebrant. And you know what? My first words to her were, well, what is a wedding celebrant? I've never heard that before. Because, in South Africa, it's the dominee, the reverend, the pastor, or the priest that does the weddings. So she said to me, she explained to me, and she said, and the reason why I think you would be a fantastic celebrant is because you love marriage, you're passionate about love and marriage, and you love public speaking. You're easy to, you don't feel threatened by an audience. And I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to Google this. So I went online, like everybody else does. I Googled wedding celebrant, and then I thought, geez, there's a whole world out there that I didn't know about. And the more I read, the more I Googled, the more I thought, geez, this is so for me. It was just right. It so resonated with me. And then I looked at some websites of wedding celebrants in Australia, the US, the London, UK, and everywhere. And without sounding, I honestly do not have any or what's a negative, connotation to this, but I found that most of them had a similar sort of website that says we can create a bespoke ceremony, the same sort of thing. And I thought, look, if I'm going to do this, when somebody goes onto my website, I want them to feel my passion. I want them to feel she loves love. She's crazy about marriage. She loves what she does, because it's one of the most amazing things to do. And so I wrote my own editorial, and I'm very proud of what I did, because it was truly from my heart, because I love what I do. And I spoke, from the heart. And I want couples who would like a celebrant who's excited and, positive and energetic and loves what she does. And friends of mine at the time, they have a business in town, and she said, my gift to you will be your website. And what was so fantastic was that she's a close friend of mine. And when I told her this is what I was going to do, her excitement and her love and support for this was amazing. And this was Angie and their company. Can I call it? Say it?
Yeah,
Be Unique.
definitely.
They designed my website. I wrote all the content. And in the beginning, I used some pictures of me at Nick's wedding because I didn't have pictures that I could use. And I took some off the internet. But as time went on, I exchanged all the pictures now. But it was so fantastic to have this whole thing come to life. And then on the 25th of September 2017, my website went live. And I had my first wedding, which Lizelle recommended me to this lovely couple in Dubai. And I did the wedding. And I remember I went to the venue. The venue was the farm. We had the setup for the ceremony in the garden. And then they had the dinner, this reception in the one section as you come in. And I remember I arrived there and my heart was so excited. And I was thinking, what's the time? I can't wait for 4 o'clock. I'm so excited. I want to get this. I want to start the ceremony. And it was just so fantastic. And I remember looking at the groom, and when he saw his bride come down the aisle, I mean, his whole bottom lip quivered and he was tearful. And the ceremony was absolutely fabulous. And you know what? Afterwards, some of the guests came to me and said, that was a fantastic ceremony. How long have you been doing this? And I'm thinking, oh crap, what do I say now? I can't lie. I can't say I've been doing this for years. So to one or two people, I said, well, I recently started. And I think to one person, I said, this is my first wedding. And they said, what? That was fantastic. So that is actually how it came about. And I can tell you one thing. Every single wedding that I do is spectacular in the sense that I don't care whether there's 2 people on a beach or under a tree or whether it's like 250 people at the Burj Al Arab. And during every single ceremony, there's always a moment that I feel, oh, there's magic that's just happening right now, you know?
Yes.
And you know what, to sit down with the couples and to get to know them and to hear the love story and how did they meet and how did they propose. And the thing that really amazes me about love is that love knows no boundaries. Love jumps over cultures, over belief systems, over distances. And love happens anytime, anywhere, anyhow. And you never know. And the other thing that I'm always amazed when I hear all these amazing love stories is that, you know, in a city of 1 million people, or how many ever millions it is, whether it's here or South Africa or anywhere in the world, but that 2 people can find each other amongst all the millions, there's a spark, and whoops, you know, love happens. Is that not just phenomenal? I just think that is absolutely amazing. And because I know what it's like to be extremely ecstatically happily married. You know, my heart, at times I would lie in bed in Nick's arms and I would say to him, you know what, my heart wants to burst from joy and happiness and contentment. I'm so happy. And that is what I want my couples to be able to build into their marriages. So when I do the ceremonies, I like to impart to them words of love, life, and wisdom that will equip them so that 20, 30, 40 years down the line, when they look at each other, they still think, man, look at my sexy husband, or geez, my sexy wife, you know. And they must still have a twinkle in the eyes and a skip in the step, and they must not be able to keep their hands off each other. That's how it should be. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely, we agree. And also that's one of the reasons, your sparkle, your positive energy. And I mean, you just touched it a little bit. You actually lost 2 loves that you still carry on with being so positive, so forward looking, and you so energetic, and you inspire so many people. And we said, actually, you are a must to have on our little show here. So I think that is what people need also, you know. I think particularly here in South Africa, where we have, like the same like in Dubai also, a very strict lockdown, and people get also a bit moody in a certain way, you know. we want to encourage them. Of course, not everything in these days is glitter and glamour. We are not looking in a pink future. It's not, but there is future. This is not the end of the world.
There is love, and people will also fall in love, and there will be weddings, and there will be engagement.
For sure. Absolutely, love conquers everything.
Yeah, and we have to bridge this time. How long this time will be, we don't know at the moment. But we have the power in ourselves to bridge it. And we always say, you can say the glass is half full or the glass is half empty. But I think your glass is always full.
You know what? Carry on. No, carry on.
No, carry on.
I woke up this morning, and it was such a beautiful morning, and I have this amazing view from my apartment. I always say I have a limitless view, and I really believe God has created us to be limitless. There's nothing that we can't do that He's placed in our hearts. And I was sitting outside, and I just felt my heart was it felt like a flood just rising up in my heart, and I'm so excited about this day, and as you so rightly said, there's enough negativity out there. We need to focus on that which is good. And we have so much to be grateful for. To have a heart filled with gratitude is the key. I mean, we all know life happens and life sucks at times. But we do get through it, because I do believe with all of my heart, we always have hope. And there is always a future for us, no matter what we've gone through.
Yeah, life is carrying on. Whatever we do, it's carrying on, and we just have to jump on the train.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you mentioned Dubai, and I think maybe the first interesting question is how, for a lot of South Africans that maybe also listen, and how do you find Dubai, and specifically when it comes to those cultural still differences, what can you maybe also just from your experience tell people what makes Dubai such a really spectacular place, not only for love but really also when it comes to this multicultural connection and part, which I think also everyone who has experienced it, including me, is valuing and just is such an enrichment for people
to work together with different people. I mean,
absolutely. The one thing that happened to me when I moved here, and this month it'll be 12 years. 12 years that I've moved to Dubai. The first thing that I experienced when I moved here 12 years ago was that I suddenly realized that my particular South African way, and I would even go as far as say my Afrikaans way of thinking about certain peoples and cultures and what they believe, etc., that suddenly fell by the wayside because, if I can put it very plainly, at the time, the Russians are the communists, the Arabs are the terrorists, and then you've got everybody else sort of thing. Yeah. But I realized that was the common way people were, living down at the bottom of Africa, and you don't really deal with any of the other nations. And then I realized, no, this is not so. And then, of course, living here and working here, and then I met people from all the different nations, Iranians, locals, Emiratis. I met an Afghanistan plastic surgeon once at an event, and I thought, wow, where would I have ever before met somebody from Afghanistan? And what really spoke to me was that I had the opportunity, and this is the one thing that I love about living in Dubai, is that you get the opportunity to meet people from all nations. And the other thing is that I also learned very quickly that, we don't have to believe the same way. We don't have to have the same cultural system. I can love you. I can be your friend, no matter how different we are. Because in the end, as different as we are, we all have two things in common. Everyone wants to be loved, and everyone wants to be respected. So no matter where you come from, whether you're from some village in the middle of the Himalayan mountains, or whether you come from some sleek city like New York, we all want the same things. So I love the fact that here we are. I think it's more than 200 nationalities in the UAE, and it's even more than the United Nations. But here we are living, all of us, so different.
In peace.
And
you all live together in peace.
Safety. It's fantastic. And I absolutely love it. I have learned so much from so many different people and from their cultures and the exposure to other cultures. I've had last Ramadan, a family who live here in Living Legends, they had an iftar and they invited me to join them for iftar. And it was fantastic because it wasn't a hotel iftar, which I've done many times before, but it was with a family and their friends. And it was fantastic. And I was sitting there looking at them thinking, how fabulous is this? I'm sitting with people who have a completely different belief system than me, but they're fabulous people. And I can enjoy having conversations with them, eating food together. And that is really the most important thing, you know, is to love and respect one another.
Yeah.
So for me,
I think being open-minded is very important, and travel is something, we said it the other day, that opens people's mind. I think also when you said 12 years ago, not a lot of South Africans have traveled so much like at a time. So more young people now travel, and I think that also opens their mind, that they bring fresh ideas with. But you said something very, and like a couple of minutes ago, that your heart is bursting this morning when you looked out of the window. But can I tell you something? What you just said right now about the openness, about the cultural like open mind, that bursted my heart, and I really felt like my heart was jumping out, because this is what I believe, what we believe. This is our actually bread and butter, that we are open, and we traveled also a lot. And I remember when you said this sentence, I remember one thing. Many years, I think it was 20 years back, I went on a farm, and we visited people there, and we thought we had a good connection together, right? And they had a daughter, and we were talking like about the kids and things like that. And my husband asked the father of the house, like the other gentleman, what would you think when your daughter is coming with another culture person, maybe a colored guy or a black guy? And then he stood up and he said, not in my house. And we were so shocked, you know, we actually didn't know what to say. But I think that like things like that is also what you maybe mean, where your roots maybe have been, and you opened up so much by living in a totally different environment. And I think also the more people come to South Africa as international couples, and now we are coming actually to a question that I wanted to ask you. You also do international destination weddings. So we have done a wedding together in the Winelands. So tell us a bit about your destination weddings.
Yeah, listen, you know what? My first international wedding or destination wedding was in Bahrain. I had a guy called me out of the blue, and he said, listen, we're getting married. We're from the UK. We live and work in Bahrain, and we need a celebrant. And I've seen you know, I've looked on your website and everything, and we'd love you to be our celebrant. And of course, you know, I love to travel. I can travel tomorrow if need be, except we've got the passport that you need to get the visa. But so that was the first one. And then I did a wedding for a lovely couple from Dubai. He's British and she is Swedish, and they had their wedding in Sri Lanka. And so they flew me to Sri Lanka, and we had a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous wedding there, right besides at a beach club next to the beach. And where we stood, we had all the guests not seated, but standing around me, myself, and the couple while I was doing the ceremony. And it was just so lovely and so very special. And then I did the one in Franschhoek. And then I'm going to, in October, all things working out, but I think it will, because by that time, the world should be more normal. I'm going to do a wedding in Tbilisi in Georgia for a couple from here. And the groom is South African. Yes. So I'm really looking forward to that. But listen, I like to promote myself also as an international destination wedding celebrant, because, you know, I just think how great it is to go. The world's got so many beautiful places. And because I'm single, it's easy for me to go. You know, I don't have to think about kids or anything like that. And so I love that. So anywhere they want to get married, I'll be there.
Wonderful, wonderful.
But just while we are here,
yes, carry on.
I just wanted to give you the opportunity right now, like when you say this, where can people like find more information about you, and like what is your website that your friend did? Like what's the name of your website so that people can actually also follow up on where to find more infos?
Fabulous, thank you. My website is www.Theresa D for Delta, weddingcelebrant.com. My Instagram is Theresa D Celebrant. And then I also have a Facebook page called Theresa D Wedding Celebrant. So you'll find me there. Listen, I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do.
And when it's coming out from even your eyes, not even from your mouth. Like really, like when one sees you, you have a really, I said that before, like a really captivating personality, which I think is very pleasant, and not only for couples, but also for guests. You know, I mean, we have also, as planners, we have been to a lot of weddings, which we have done ourselves, but also like just to watch as guests, you know. So I think it's always important as well, not only for the couple, but of course they have priority, but there are also like emotional celebrant for the people who actually sit in the audience, you know, that they can also really again connect with what story the couple had, like what are your like vision for the couple and things. And I think you make this very beautifully in a very specific and very personal way. And there are also, I mean, out of our own experience, I know that that there are also celebrants who have like almost like, I would say already a script, you know, that they maybe just change a little bit, but not really tailor to each and every couple, which I personally feel is super important.
It's very airy, it's very light, it's very, But we have already the first compliments for you. Do you read that?
Reem Ahmed, I don't know, maybe you know her, who is complimenting on your style. So that's amazing. What I want to know, because I also think that has somehow like something to do with your personality. Tell us your connection to colors.
I have always loved colors. I always say, listen, and no harm intended, but beige for me is not a color.
Now you have too many sand around you, right?
I love bold, bright colors because I think it's just subconsciously, it reflects, you know, my passion for life. So I love bold colors. I like to wear different clothing. I'm very much a bohemian at heart. I don't like to conform to the norm. I think I like to swim upstream in the sense that I don't like to follow the masses. And I think that's very important because every one of us is created so differently and so magnificently fabulous. And sometimes people allow, you know, society and the media to shape you that you should be like this or you should be like that. But everyone is very unique and most amazing. So for me, I love color. If you were to put me in a beige surrounding, I would really look for where can I have some color?
Look for the exit.
My beautiful wall. I painted my walls in my living room. This is a beautiful sea blue, and then I've got another wall which is like turquoise. I love the beach. I always say I want to live on the beach. I'm a beach girl and an island girl at heart. So by painting the walls, the colors, it's like I'm there.
You're there.
You are already on the beach.
Yeah, I'm already on the beach. And so from here, I'll move on to a beach somewhere. That's my goal. But you know what? Can I come back to something that we spoke about earlier about the different, you know, people having different cultures and belief systems and how South Africans, you know, 20 years back would say, no, don't bring anybody of another color. My daughter can't marry somebody like that. But here's the most amazing thing. Living in Dubai, where everyone comes from somewhere else. I've done so many weddings where the couples are completely different. I've got a couple, the husband is from Sri Lanka, and the bride is from Scotland. They are so different. I did a wedding for an Arab who comes from Yemen, and he married a Scottish girl. I've done a wedding for the bride was from India, and he was from Pakistan. There's just
Which
so
is
many
also
of
very
these.
different, actually.
Yeah. And then I did a wedding about 2 months ago before the lockdown and everything. The bride was from Germany and the groom was from India. He was born in India but raised here. She grew up in Germany and they met in New Zealand, of all places. And so and to look at them and to hear their love story, and you look at them, he's this tall, handsome Indian. She's this petite, dainty little German Fräulein. And, so, and what makes it so great when you've got the different cultures marrying is that I always say to couples, let's bring in things from your different cultures, because that adds, because, it's a union of two different cultures. So bring that in. And so for this particular wedding, her family and friends flew in from Germany. So we had a German contingent and a big Indian contingent. So 2-3 days before their wedding, they had the whole Indian wedding, 3 days. And then on their wedding day, all the German guests stood up at the beginning of the ceremony and they sang a song in German, all about love. And then I had her best friend who was my translator. So I had given her my notes that I'd written so that she could, get the gist of it. And she stood next to me. And then so while I was doing the ceremony, she would then translate. So obviously the ceremony was a bit longer, but I tell you what, there was so much laughter. There was so much fun and so much joy. And for both parties, both sides, the two cultures, they both loved the different experience. But hold on, I have a great story. Stick around. The wedding I did with you guys in Franschhoek.
Yes.
Well, this is probably one of the, I laughed so much when I heard this because my friend who took me there sat amongst the guests and she was sitting next to a South African couple who were engaged. And so after the ceremony, my friend Jane comes to me and she said, while you were busy with the ceremony, the woman who was sitting next to is a great friend of the bride. So I'm going to not say the proper word, the French word. I will use a watered down version. So she said, this woman said, as you were talking, she said, that woman is effing great. I burst out laughing. I thought, how funny. But that wasn't the real, the proper one.
Absolutely right. I can tell you she's absolutely
maybe
right.
not the right timing, but in essence, she is. No, I mean, you are brilliant.
But however, whenever you need an official translator, I don't know. I think Alfie is the German-speaking celebrant for Dubai as well as for South Africa. So you maybe have the possibility to work together in that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do. Because in Dubai there is not a lot of German-speaking people at all in the wedding industry. So
there was a pastor, I think, but
there is a pastor.
But when he left, no, there was one, and
there
then
he.
Okay, but he left, and so they
that's good to know.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
I don't know English because English is not my mother tongue, and I also believe that specifically for a wedding, it needs to come really from your mother tongue heart. Even if you have Afrikaans and English, but you grew up with this. For me, English still is my second language. I do it the best way I can, but I think to have a unique moment in time, with a couple that is just a once in a lifetime experience for them, really must be 100% solid. So I also, I'm very respectful of that moment. So that's why I can just share this excitement also with you, when you are there and you're like, wow. And it's also in a way, it's a responsibility, So the same way as everyone involved in the wedding, it's just a very unique one time. So if the cake is not working, if the flowers are not right, if the venue is not right, you're gonna have a problem.
Language is home, actually. Language means home. You feel with your own language, you feel home. Yeah.
So that's great. But I also think when people, and I think how you make a ceremony like work, like the ambience that you also set like for the ceremony, because that is the start of each and every celebration of a wedding, is really so important, because it carries through the whole day. Like this is just like a cloud, you know, that you make for the couple and the guests, and like when they can comfortably sit on that cloud, it will carry them really nicely through the whole day, and they will still hear maybe some of the words that you have like shared with them. And I think that is what really makes it very, very special.
Can I ask you a question? Like the speeches that you prepare for the couples, do you also give them afterwards that they can actually like keep this for the rest of their life together?
You know what? It's a very good question. I had it once before. As a rule, I haven't done that yet. I did have once where I did a wedding where the bride was Russian, the groom was Egyptian, and she said, my grandmother does not understand a word of English. So could you please, send me it so that we can just translate it to her in the meantime. But I actually have thought perhaps I should, write it down or print it out and then at some point give it to the couples. It is something I've thought about, but as a rule, I haven't done it as such yet. But yeah,
I mean, we have good experience with that. So particularly with the Germans, let's say like that.
And I mean, in these days where handwriting also becomes so rare, I think it's very special if you like write down like this and like have a signature, like it really comes from the heart, and it's really something personal. I mean, as I said, you set the tone for the entire wedding, so I think it would be just a really nice gift also. But I also know you always give like something small to each and every couple. What is your thinking behind that?
What the gift that I give them?
Yes.
I have the same gift that I give to every single couple, and I'm not going to say what it is, but all I can say is that it is something that will really help them build a fantastic marriage, because it's like a secret key to building a fantastic marriage relationship of understanding.
You cannot believe how many people now want to get married with you just to get the gift.
And
I know what it is.
Listen, it's and I really, and everyone that I've given it to have said to me afterwards, it's such a fantastic gift, So, and the other thing also that, what gives me great pleasure, because I always say to my couples that the ceremony, the wedding day is all about them. So my responsibility as a celebrant is to create a fabulous ceremony for them that they will remember for the rest of their days. Yes. And, and I always say to them, listen, when you walk down the aisle, you don't have to rush down. Walk slowly down the aisle, take in, absorb everything that's happening around you, and, just savor every minute. And I always also say to them, listen, if anything goes wrong on your wedding day, maybe your bouquet falls off the table and somebody steps on it or something like that, you get lipstick on your dress. For most brides, they're going to think, oh, this is a massive train smash. I say to them, if anything does go wrong, don't stress. It becomes part of your story, because you've got to have a story to tell your kids one day, So they should just have fun on their wedding day. It's not a production. It is a celebration of love. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, you are so right. I think like when we look back to the weddings of our parents, even my own wedding, or the weddings of our grandparents, it was more easygoing because the times were different. I had only like 2.5 people, let's say like that. It was me. Was her. So because there was a very special situation, I was in, neither my parents nor the parents of my husband could actually come. I celebrated with my grandparents. So yes, because it was a political situation at a time in Germany, like Germany was divided into countries. So I married a man from another German country. So very difficult situation. I was always looking for trouble, you know.
You still do.
That is,
You're controversial, which I love.
No, but I mean, we are married for so long, so I think it was not a mistake. Nevertheless, I think at the time, and when I remember back, getting married was not that stressful. It was not so much a pressure on a bride. It was always a very big thing, you know. But nowadays, with all the media, with social media, with the magazines, with everything, the dresses and all of this, it becomes such a pressure, and it goes away from the main point. Actually, also when we plan weddings, a lot of people stress so much about the guest and the celebration and the party, actually. And what we always say is about actually the saying yes, you know. That is the moment. This need to be the main part. And I think people like you make it or bring it back. What is the most important? Not the party. You can party afterwards with 150 people, no problem, you know. But this moment for the ceremony, this is it, about the marriage, about the wedding.
This is why the entire wedding is going to take place, you know. This is
exactly. Yeah, you're celebrating the love you have for each other. I also believe when I sit down with my couples is to say to them, because I think these are things that that can cause a lot of stress for them, as well as who do we invite? And I always say to them, you know, invite only the people that you really love, that really means something to you in your life. Because number one, you're paying for them. And when you look at people, you want to think, oh, I'm so happy they're here. Oh, they're here and they're here, you know, instead of, oh, crap, we've got Aunt so-and-so here, you know. You don't want that. So, and, you know, just it's all about having fun and celebrating the love that you have for each other. That's what it is.
At the moment, I'm sorry, but at the moment we have to actually take notice of some notes. So we have to say Theresa, Engelbert, and Ruben said hello.
Oh, it's one of my favorite nephews. He's a great guy.
And then there was also somebody that said, that's my aunt. I think that is one of these. That's my aunt. Okay, you have the whole family watching, I think. And then Zelda said, okay, Zelda said, hello, lovely Theresa.
Oh, thank you, Zali.
Okay, so what is it? What you would actually?
Hello, Buntu.
Buntu was at the wedding in Bangkok.
Actually, we're waiting for his wedding, right?
Yes, me too.
Oh, no, I got in trouble, I think.
Just survive the end of Corona. I think everyone is really looking forward to just like this time also to pass.
But absolutely. But you know what? I've had a great lockdown because in the building that I live, I have some friends. And so we've been getting together for early morning coffees at 6:30 on our balconies together, having a glass of wine, watching the sunset in the evenings, having meals together, playing cards. We've had a fantastic lockdown. It's been very social.
Yeah, it is. And you know, what I also see all over in the world, people get so creative. Like it started in Italy when they started singing on the balconies. In Canada when they made like at 6 o'clock, right? Or when they made the noise for the nurses and all these essential workers. Here in South Africa, I just saw a musician that we are working with. She gives like a concert in the garden, you know, like
wow.
We had
How
even
fabulous.
at the beginning, I think somewhere in Hout Bay, there's living a musician, and he climbed on his roof and he actually did music for all his neighbors, you know.
Is that fabulous?
It is unbelievable. Awesome. And I think with all the bad things that happen around, there's also so much good things and creative things happening. Tell me, like, what is your your perspective for Dubai? When do you believe, or when do you think like things can go on again with weddings?
Well, you guys, you ladies know that Dubai, our wedding season is very seasonal because, you know, our summer is so fierce. Nobody gets married here. Although I have done 2 weddings in the heat of summer. I have done that. But so our current season, you know, fizzled out because of what happened. So it starts again in October. And I really feel in my gut that comes October, I think from October onwards, I think the wedding season is going to be chock-a-block. So couples who had to postpone have postponed it to later this year. So I think that's really my gut feel, is that we're going to be very, very busy from October onwards, right through, because people want to get married. And personally, you know, and also because it's now, we've got Ramadan for another, I think, a week and a half, and then it's summer. And then normally in summer, nothing really happens here. And then after that, you know, we're heading towards October, and I think we're going to have a really good wedding season. And I believe we need to speak it out. You know, we need to speak it out and to encourage couples. Look, if you've got to postpone, if you had to postpone, it's something that you've got to look forward to. Yes, it's a disappointment, but you know, you've still got something great to look forward to, and it might even give you more, you know, more time to maybe slightly change something
right now. Yes.
And
I think also it needs to have a positive spin. So, I mean, obviously everyone is disappointed. You know, I mean, there's no question about it that if you were planning a wedding and just this pandemic got into the way, that you are desperately disappointed. I can we have clients who don't even know yet until when they can get married, because nobody knows in South Africa particularly what's going to be really happening over the next months. But I think right now, and that's what I also see, because a lot of people have time on their hands, they actually take also a lot of time to plan, whether it was already couples who already set their dates, or whether it's newly engaged couples who actually now take the time to look into suppliers like a celebrant or a venue or whatsoever.
Because maybe they also have to change their plans, because maybe we don't know, but maybe not so many guests are permitted for a wedding. So maybe if they have planned for 200 people, now they might have plans for 50 or 80 or I don't know what yet, but they might actually change also. So they have now a lot of time to also look into things like that.
You know, we might even find that because of all this, that they, instead of, as you said, have 200 people, maybe have half of that or less than that, but then they can actually splurge a bit more, you know, make it even a bit more spectacular, and then go on a rocking honeymoon, instead of having a ton of people, and they've got to constantly be aware of their costs. So, you know what? The thing is that love always conquers everything. And people will always fall in love. People will always get married. They will not let whatever happens, it won't stop marriages. So it's maybe just a slightly different way of looking at everything. And I think, you know, all around, everybody that's in the industry to look at it slightly differently. But then who knows, you know, it might just, you know, after a couple of months, I know we're reading everywhere saying normal will never be normal again. You know what? If you want to believe that, then believe that. But I do believe, you know what? There's a great new future out there, despite all everything that's happening. We've got to look at life from a positive point of view. But
what is normal? I mean, that is also a question. I'm always saying we will have another normal. Obviously, because we have to look into different things for a wedding. We have to take in consideration maybe how hygiene,
and at least from a planner's perspective. You know, there's lots of things that need to be now also, I mean, budgeted for, considered. So there is going to be changes, but still I think, and I hope from the experience, at least from the couples and guest experience, is not taking away anything that was before. So that is just
exactly.
my hope that I have.
Yes. And the thing is, you know what, when they're going to have their weddings in a few months from now, it's still going to be spectacularly beautiful because it's a celebration of their love.
Yeah.
And what
and
I
that
think,
doesn't change.
yes, it might actually be possible. It can be even more spectacular because before lockdown, and I can say this for South Africa, a lot of things were very rushed. A lot of like venues were overbooked. Supplier were like overstressed, you know?
Yes.
And now I think that everybody had to sit back and put like the reset button a little bit. And everyone is eager to start again, to want to make beautiful, spectacular things, create amazing moments. I think that's my personal opinion. I don't know if this is true. Maybe some of you can we can put this to the audience. But I think we had the energy to recover a bit and to put new things out, to create different things. And we have spoken with other supplier. They prepare for the day after, let's say like that, and they come up with new ideas, with new
with fresh trends, and just something that they got inspired from this time to just be different in what's going to happen after on day X.
No, I think it's great. I think out of this lockdown situation, creativity has been given a boost because, as you've just said, Sylvia, is that there's no, you've had these weeks of no pressure of you've got to get this done. So you can think creatively, and when you're at peace and you're relaxed, you think far more creatively than when you are stressed, and running around like that. So I think all round, the lockdown has been a good thing in the sense that people are looking at life differently. I think a lot of people are also reevaluating what's important and what isn't important. I think people have realized that connecting with others and having relationships with others is more important. I think in marriages, couples had to spend a lot more time with each other, and which is great, because you get married because you want to spend the rest of your days with each other. You want to go through the ups and the downs and everything with each other. So this has been an opportunity for them to work through, if they've got little issues, to work through that, and come out on the after this with a relationship that is just so much more strengthened, and that they're even more in love with each other. I'm the eternal optimist. I believe in love.
Yeah, like we share this optimism and this love for love, and also just maybe finally saying this morning we read an article about a florist that was also referring to the Spanish flu 100 years ago, and he said after that a lot of weddings came out with higher number of people because people just wanted to celebrate, because they couldn't do this for so long. And I think that also could happen, when they let us do.
Absolutely. And you know what also is that, as you've just said about the Spanish flu and how people wanted to be there, is that after this, that when you get an invitation, that you say, geez, have to be there because they're special and I love them and I want to be part of the ceremony and be with them when they celebrate their love for each other. So you'll have real guests who really, truly want to be there and share the love and the excitement of the day with the couple.
That's true. And I think that is actually almost like a beautiful ending, because I think we all in the industry, we want things to go on again as soon as possible. We appreciate, I think, being of service to our couples, to the guests that have a phenomenal experience, and we also cannot wait to actually make it happen again for our own businesses, for our own clients, and I think when everyone would have like just the optimistic and positive energy like you, then we just gonna see how long it will take, and this will carry us over also to when things are possible again. So thank you so much, Theresa, for sharing your spirit.
It was such a pleasure. Thank you for asking me. And you know what? I always say, anybody who's in the wedding industry, we are all happiness merchants.
That's true. And we are all a big family. That's why we need each other, and we are a piece of the puzzle. And you have been our perfect piece of the puzzle for Mother's Day. And everybody that wants to get married in Dubai
or anywhere else in
the world,
Theresa D Wedding Celebrant. There we go. Again,
ladies,
thank you so much. Keep well, stay safe, and we just hope things are going back to a old new normal soon.
A wonderful new normal. And listen, Sylvia and Alfie, thank you so much. I have had such a wonderful time talking to you. It's been delightful. And may I just say, I bless your business, the flowers, the weddings, everything that you will just continuously flourish even more every day and spread your sunshine and joy and happiness.
Big hug, Theresa. Thank you.
It's very kind. Thank you very much.
Bye, ladies. Love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Tata. Tata.